Hey everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. Had a little technical issue, so if you saw me pop on a minute ago and then drop off, I was having some technical issues. It was taking a very long time to connect. And I don't think, no, my Facebook group didn't connect. I don't know what's going on. So I will make sure that I share this video into my Facebook group if that's where you typically come and watch me from. So today I wanted to make a step card. It's been a while since I've made a step card, and I thought it would be a perfect card for the terrific Toadstools, which is one of my absolute favorite bundles from the upcoming January to April mini catalog. Just so whimsical, so pretty, and with the colors. And so I thought I'd pull out my template for a step card. This is the more of a tent fold step card, and so we'll play with that today. All right, I'm going to switch over to my desktop and we will get started. All right, so this is the terrific Toadstools bundle. So it's a punch bundle, so I love punch bundles. And so this is a photopolymer stamp with some great images, and you can punch out these three, so the two caps and then this stem from the punch. So it's really lovely, and look at these fun sayings that are on it. Just so perfect. And of course, lots of colors that you can use. It kind of lends itself to bright colors. So I am using, this is the Toadstool something or other. Forgotten the name of it. It's celebration paper, so I'm just going to use this one. Isn't that cute with the little snails and the toadstools? And on the back side is this kind of crosshatch. So I'm going to use a little bit of that designer series paper. You can get that free when you purchase $75 from during celebration, which is coming up. Starting January 7th. I'm not sure where I'm thinking. January 7th. And so if you purchased the bundle, you probably have to add a little bit to it because the bundle probably isn't $75, but you could purchase some of these. And these are the embellishments I'm using called Sunny Day Iridescent Dots. Look how fun those are. So you could add to it and get the celebration paper for free. Okay, so I already went ahead and cut this out just because I wanted a template to show you. So the way a step card works, you can make a faux step card. They're really easy to make. You use two pieces of cardstock. But if you're going to make kind of the true step cards, and you can make them portraits so that they have this part that sticks up is off to one side or in the middle of a landscape card. But I've made this using a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 11. And so what we're going to do, these are cut, this is cut at 1 inch from each side. So I'll go over the measurements with you. I'm going to be sharing this in a blog post coming up in a week or so, and I will put the template in the blog post because I think it helps to show you. So this is the template that I have drawn up. So we cut down on the solid lines, so those are cut at 1 inch and 3 1/4, and then the dotted lines is where we score. And it's hard to see, I'm sure, on this, but you're going to score at 1, 2, in the middle at 5 1/2, and then at 6 1/2. So we'll go over that. So we're going to put our cardstock in, lined up with the 1 inch. And this is where it really helps, and I haven't done this. If you take a piece of basic white and lay it down, or if you take a piece of Terran tape, here's a tip for you. If you take a piece of Terran tape, let's do this before we actually go, and you run it down, this is the top of the trimmer, so I'm going to put it right over the measurements, and I'm not going to peel the backing off of this. This is just going to be a piece of white. It will show as white if I can get it on straight, and this just helps you so that you can see those numbers on your trimmer, because particularly when you have dark, like this black cardstock, it is really hard to see. So I'm just pressing that down. And now I can still see the numbers on that side. But now when I put my black in, I can actually read those numbers, you can see. Okay, so now that I've helped myself and maybe given you a tip, what we're going to do is we are going to cut from 1 inch down to 6.5. So that's, I put it into 1 inch, and let me go back out. 1 inch, so I've lined it up at the 1 inch mark, and I've cut from 1 inch to 6.5, and then I'm going to move it over to the 3.25 inch, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put that in at 3.25, and I'm going to cut from 1 inch to 6.5. So now I have a piece of cardstock that has this opening. So now we're going to take and we're going to turn it like this, and now we're going to do some scoring. So we're going to score this. Move your cutting blade out of the way. We're going to score this now across only the outside pieces. So from 1 inch to the edge, and from 3.25, basically it's from the cut line to the edges. And then we're going to move it, and we're going to score it again at 2 inches from that cut line to the outside edge. Open up your trimmer, and we're going to go out to 6.5 and do the same thing, scoring from the cut line to the outside edge, cut line to the outside edge. And there's one more score that we need to make, and that's at 5.5, and that's going to be across the middle. So that's between those two cut lines. Okay, let's go over that again. So I put my piece of cardstock in, lined up with the 1 inch, and I cut from 1 inch to 6.5. And then I moved it over to 3.25, and I cut from 1 inch to 6.5. And then I turned it 90 degrees, and now I'm scoring from the cut line to each outside edge. So it's scored only that little section there and that little section there. The same at 2 inches, the same at 6.5, and then scored at 5.5, which would be your regular score between the two cut lines. So I will put this, when I do my blog post in a week or so, I will put this template in, and that will help you a lot. Now, take your card or your bone folder, and we're going to just gently, so the first on this from the bottom, this is the 1 inch score, the 1 inch score line is going to be a mountain fold, so only those two pieces, and then a valley fold, and then my one that's between is a mountain fold and a mountain fold. So it's mountain, valley, mountain, mountain. And once you start the bottom piece, the scoring or the burnishing at 1 inch and 2 inches, your card really will kind of fold itself, and then you can just take your bone folder and burnish those edges. Okay, so it's really not that hard. A faux step card is really easier, but this one isn't that hard once you get the idea of what you want to do. Okay, so I went ahead and I cut, I'm going to use that in the middle because that's the piece that's going to have my toadstools and mushrooms and things put on. So that's 2 inches by 4.25, and that's going to fit right in that section. And then I've got one longer piece that is that the right size? Gotta figure which ones. No, this one. There we go. So this is 3/4 inch by 4, and I'm going to again use that same melon mambo. And then these two pieces are the other side with these cute patterns on them, and they're going to go, and I need to trim those down because they're going to go, oh actually they will, I did cut them down. So those are 3 3/4 of an inch by 4 1/4. So those are going to go in like that. So we get the front mostly decorated, and then we're going to do some stamping with these cute toadstool stamps and punch them out. Make sure we don't have them going upside down. These cute. Look at these. Oh my gosh, this pattern is so adorable. There. So that's our card base. It will stand up nicely just like that, but we do need to decorate it a little bit more. So let's take a piece of basic white, and I'm gonna stamp some of the toadstools out. So I need Melon Mambo and Soft Sea Foam and Pebbled Path and maybe Peach Pie, just because. So when I've showed you this before, I use a template to do stamping, and that way I can punch and cut out everything at the same time. So I am going to just kind of use Post-it note tape on that to hold it in place. And we're going to stamp the stem. Press hard to make sure that it goes through like that. Let's see, my thing moved a little bit, so let's re-stamp this one. There we go. That'll be really dark. All right, and then, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I don't want that in Pebbled Path. We'll move that off to the side. Let's do this one in Peach Pie. So this is upside down, so press really hard so it goes through that opening. And then we will do this one in Melon Mambo. All right, so I've got one set. I'm going to need to do, I want to do another set. And let's clean off our stamps, because I'm going to switch up the colors. So we'll do this one in Peach Pie, this one in Melon Mambo, and then we need another stem. Let's bring that back. And then I need 2 more stems. So I'm just going to stamp those on the outside. And now we can close this. Actually, we need a sentiment, so let's do the sentiment. And I'm just going to do the just a little thank you. So this is a really small little sentiment, and I'm going to do it in Melon Mambo. So I'm just going to stamp that while I have my ink pad open. I'm going to just refresh. I'm not sure if I'm seeing all the comments or not. So if you're watching, tell me where you're watching from. Let me know what's going on. All right, so now that I've punched or stamped this, I can take and just put it into my punch. And because I've stamped using that template, I can just punch those pieces out so easily. Like that. Now I'm just going to take and cut this so I don't waste too much paper. I might have to see if I can do this. I always get this, I always punch these in the wrong place. That's why the template helps. So if you ever do this and you realize you have nothing to hang on to when you go to cut your piece, or you punch your piece out, use a Post-it note, and that way you can hang on to something. And I'm going to have to do the same with this one. And you can just insert this in, hanging on to that piece of Post-it note. There we go. All right. So we've got our pieces all punched out. So now we can start to do the arranging on our piece. But let's figure out where we're going to put our sentiment first. So I'm just going to take and cut this into a rectangle. Not worried if it's straight. It's okay, that might go down there. So let's just do some arranging here. Oops. So we had this conversation last time I used this one. Does it goes wide side down was the general consensus, but out's on the top of it as opposed to underneath. And so we're just going to kind of arrange these like that. So I'm going to use dimensionals to put my caps on. The one thing you have to think about is where your caps are going to go, and if they're going to overhang the edges of your card base. You don't want them to have the dimensional stick out so that it will adhere onto your sides of your card. So just kind of think about where they're going. There we go. Kind of feeling with my fingers where that is, and making sure my dimensional is not sticking out. I might end up putting my sentiment in a different place than I was thinking, but at the moment I need to find my glue. And that's there it is. Nowhere to be found. There it is. Okay. You could use a glue dot for these if you didn't want to use a little tiny bit of glue. I'm just trying to get a little bit of glue. And I probably should use a mini dimensional on the bottom of that. I might have to rethink this. There we go. Here's my mini dimensional. So let's use a mini dimensional just to stick the bottom of my toadstool down. Like that. Try to hide it a little bit. Oopsie. This one I'm going to stick down underneath here. Underneath that. I've got a toadstool garden going on. There. My dimensionals. Hey Carol, welcome. Thank you. They're fun. This terrific Toadstools bundle is, I think it's got to be one of my favorites. And of course the designer series paper that you can add from Celebration is just adds so much to it. All right, there we go. So we got our toadstools. So I was thinking that my sentiment was going to go down here at the bottom, but I think it's going to go right there since I've got some space. I'm going to put it on with dimensionals. Just a little thank you. That'll go there. Now I've got my piece of basic white. So this is cut 4 inches by 4 1/4, and it's going to go on the inside of the card. So I'm going to stamp using peach pie, and since I don't remember what color I used last on this one, and we're just going to take and stamp that, and stamp the stem. That, not much room to write on this, but that's okay. You can have, if you need more room than that what's on there, you can always add a piece to the back, and there's lots of room on the back that you could write more notes. Okay, let's close up our ink pads before I get my fingers in them. And so this is the Fresh Freesia seam binding, which is also part of the celebration. So I'm going to just wrap this around. So this is another one. If you decide you don't want the designer series paper, but you love ribbon, you could grab this seam binding. So I'm going to take a glue dot and just kind of stick this on so it doesn't move around when I'm trying to tie a bow. So I'm going to just take it and put it on the back there. So you have your choice of, there's a lot of things in Celebration. There's stamp sets, there's this designer series paper, there's a bunch of 12 by 12 paper. What else is there? There's purple sequins that is really pretty too. So lots of things to choose from. Again, every time you spend $75 during Celebration, you can choose a free item. So if your order is $150, this is in Canada, you can choose 2 items, or they have some items that are what they call level 2, which is, I have a really tiny little bow here. You know what, I'm going to just tie a knot because there's no way I can tie a bow with that. I kind of didn't get that straight. There we go. We will just tie a bow, or tie a knot instead of a bow. Yeah, so lots that you can choose from Celebration. And the more you spend, the more items that you can choose from, or you can choose. Thanks, Yvette. Just try and trim that. Okay, so what else do we need? We need some embellishments, because you can't not put embellishments on this adorable card. So again, these are the Sunny Day Iridescent dots, and they go perfectly with the colors that I have, with the melon mambo and the peach pie. I think I'm going to use peach pie just because I think it'll show up. No, changed my mind. I'm going to use melon mambo. These are really fun. Okay, there we go. Bright and cheerful card. How adorable is that? So it stands up beautifully, and so it looks like that when you've got it folded. Fits into a card perfectly, and so yeah, it's kind of one of those, I think they're kind of wow cards. When somebody gets them in the mail, they pop up a little bit and they're fun. So there we go. There is a step card using the terrific Toadstools bundle from the upcoming January to September mini catalog. So many things. Oopsie. Go back. There we go. So many things to choose from in the catalog. I've been playing with this one a lot. I've been playing with For the Books. I absolutely love the For the Books bundle. So if you watched me yesterday, you saw that card that I shared. If you live in Canada and you don't have a regular demonstrator, I'm having my virtual launch on January 18th in my Facebook group. There's a Facebook group that Diane Evans and I have. So we'll be live from 7 in the morning till 7 at night Pacific, with a whole bunch of demonstrations and challenges and all sorts of things for you that day. So if you don't have a demonstrator, you live in Canada, so those are the two things, and you're not a demonstrator, so kind of some caveats to this, we'd love for you to join our Facebook group. And you can find that link underneath this video to my Facebook page where you'll find the link to the group. There we go, long-winded. What else do I have going on? I will be live tomorrow night with a Memory Keeping Monday, so I'll make a double layout with you, so come join me. If you haven't done memory keeping in a while or scrapbooking in a while, or you've never done it, come join me. I hopefully show you some easy ways to make a double layout that isn't going to take you forever to put a double layout together. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. I hope you have a great